Namo Bhagavate Shri Aravinda. Namo Bhagavate Shri Aravinda. Namo Bhagavate Shri Aravinda. Namo Bhagavate Shri Aravinda.
So welcome everyone. So as far as I remember, which may not be correct, so please correct if I'm wrong. Last time I think we were on page number 14, where we were taking this last passage here on page 14, and after that we switched over to Nolini Das article or essay on the process of purification, and that's what we completed last time. So today we can maybe move ahead on page 14. This continues on page 15 also, this passage. So we can take this up and then we can take reflections. So would anyone want to read it out for all of us? Page 15, the first paragraph.
Yeah, I can read, Monica.
Yes, Shweta, can you be a little louder?
Yeah. Is it okay now?
It's not that audible.
Now?
Yeah, better. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, better. Yes.
As a result of this new relation between the spirit and the body, the Gnostic evolution will effectuate the spiritualization, perfection, and fulfillment of the physical being. It will do for the body as for the mind and life. Apart from the obscurity, frailties, and limitations which this change will overcome, the body consciousness is a patient servant and can be, in its large reserve of possibilities, a potent instrument of the individual life, and it asks for little on its own account. What it craves for is duration, health, strength, physical perfection, bodily happiness, liberation from suffering, ease. When the Gnostic force can act in the body, these things can be established. For their opposites come from a pressure of external forces on the physical mind, on the nervous and material life, on the body organism, from an ignorance that does not know how to meet these forces or is not able to meet them rightly or with power, and from some obscurity pervading the stuff of the physical consciousness and distorting its responses that reacts to them in a wrong way.
Thank you, Shweta. So I think we have to remind ourselves that we are reading here about true healing, integral healing. And many of us, at times we get many diseases, sometimes acute, sometimes chronic. And most of the times we want to take a shortcut. So we have to see here that for a true healing to happen, for an absolute healing to happen in all the levels, it takes a really a big effort. So whether it is a chronic ailment like an autoimmune disorder, or maybe these lifestyle disorders nowadays that are there, if we are diagnosed with that, or if there is an acute ailment, so anything, we have to work on various levels, and there is no shortcut. We have to be prepared for a good effort in this area. And although all the things are required, many a times the surface measures are also required to get symptomatic relief and some kind of stability. So they have their proper place, but a true healing, for a true healing to happen, for the diseases to slowly not be necessary for us, I think a lot of effort on our part is required. That comes again and again. So anybody wants to share anything here on this passage? Without purification, we can't go ahead with this process. So this has to become a conscious collaboration, knowing that yes, we have lots of impurities, but we also have the light and strength and the ability to go through the process of purification. And only then this passage will matter to us. Otherwise, this has no importance. This won't matter to us otherwise. So I'll just read it out one by one, and we'll see. I have some additional things with me, and maybe that will help if required. So as a result of this new relation, so now there is an aspiration from below, and then there is also a descent from above, and there is a disidentification from ego consciousness, and more identification with our true spirit and soul consciousness. So as a result of this new relation between the spirit and the body, now there is a new light which can enter into the body. Earlier the ego ruled the body, and the ego consciousness as if was occupying, just like a tenant occupies a house. So the ego consciousness was occupying this bodily frame, and hence all the entanglements, disorders and everything. But now, owing to the aspiration that is there in the being, there is a new relation between the spirit and the body. And the Gnostic evolution, referring to so the Gnostic evolution would be coming from true consciousness, our truth consciousness. The Gnostic evolution will effectuate the spiritualization, perfection, and fulfillment of also the physical body. So the physical body doesn't have to be lethargic and in limits and other kind of miseries, all kinds of limitations that we have. A little bit of exposure here and then the body goes down. A little bit of running and then we feel tired. So we see all these limitations of the body. But when there is a unification with the spirit, its power can also affect the body consciousness. And that is what we were, I think, last time maybe talking about, that with this very beautiful example of Anita Moorjani, who went through this, stage 4 lymphoma cancer, and then how, since in the NDE stage, in the coma stage, that she realized who she truly is, and that realization, that unification, affected her physical recovery. So how all the sores, which were like big sores, they just slowly, gradually disappeared, and the scientists still are clueless about it. How can this happen? So this is the power of unification with our true consciousness. Gnostic evolution, that it affects the physical being. Apart from the obscurity, frailties, and limitations which this change will overcome, the body consciousness is a patient servant and can be in its large reserve of possibilities which we are not even know, which we don't even know. We don't know how capable our bodies are, because nowadays we keep ourselves very fragile. Most of us, we keep ourselves very limited and not give ourselves more endurance in the body and uh, know that what are the capacities of the body. But here, the large reserve of possibilities and body as a potent instrument of individual life, and we can see that it asks for little on its own account. What it craves for it is duration, health, strength, physical perfection, bodily happiness, liberation from suffering. So any physical culture which we develop for ourselves, which would be very individual, for some it could be collective sports, for some it could be just their own individual discipline, some kind of a discipline in the body uh, consciousness is very much required. That's why in ashram also, mother took a great emphasis, gave a great emphasis on having a bodily discipline, even for people who are 75, 80 years old, doesn't matter. She herself would play many games. We all know about that, those of us who have gone through few stories. Lawn tennis, table tennis. So it's not a matter of winning a competition, but keeping the body fit, keeping the body fit. So if we can develop this endurance in the body, then automatically the body becomes used to, and it becomes habituated to this endurance, stability, strength, and fitness, along with the parallel changes in the spirit. Because many of us just take care of the body very heavily, but no connection with the spirit. So I think there has to be a balance at all these levels. So when this true consciousness, when this descent from above, Gnostic force can act in the body, these things can be established. Endurance, health, strength can be established. For their opposites come from a pressure of external forces on the physical mind. Now what happens here in these 3-4 lines? Now if you put your hand in the fire, it brings pain. Why it brings pain? Because the body does not know how to react to fire. The capacity is not there. It does not know how to meet fire. And it is because of the limitation of the body consciousness. Because we have seen that there are many yogis who can actually walk on fire. They can walk on fire without getting burnt. So it is not that the body is not capable of it. It's just that we don't develop this capacity. So when the body does not know how to meet something, it says that, oh, painful, painful, because it doesn't know how to fully meet something. It does not have the capacity. So when we put the hand in fire, the hand burns because the skin does not know how to meet fire. It has not the capacity to meet fire. So although it may seem very extreme on one hand, but we have seen that people have developed capacities which are beyond so-called normal human capacities, even in terms of body. Many of us go deep down in the ocean and they can stay without any breath for a very long time. There the body is not saying pain, 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 how I need breath, because they have adapted. The body has developed the endurance. So a lot of bodily capacities they can develop when the ignorance slowly vanishes and the full truth consciousness, Gnostic consciousness, takes care of the body, mind, and life, emotions. So the distortion of responses does not happen then. But I think again, we are far away from this, because all happens in baby steps and we can't just jump all these steps. but it is good to know because we have Mother and Sri Aurobindo's writings with us, readings with us. So it's good to know what are our possibilities if we walk these steps one by one. So that much I have for until here. Anyone wants to add on?
Yes, I just, I mean, I was hearing you, and I say, you say that we don't want, I mean, we can be like the yogi or like the one that goes deep in the ocean, yes. But I mean, this is not our aim, yes, like spiritual beings. I mean, this is just the physical part. I mean, yes, we can go into that direction, but this is not the aim of, oh, I'm not sure. This is not the aim in my case to develop, yes. And but I was like thinking, sometimes in one lifetime, not everybody, like you say, can have access to everything in life, like for example politics, or to discuss certain things. uh, Certain people is more sensitive, and like myself, I observe that when I go the approach to certain topics of politics, my body and mind are getting like super nervous, you know. I mean, doesn't know how to manage that energy. And other people is like super happy there. It's like they are swimming in that with them personalities. So but it's I mean, it's not what I need to do in this lifetime. Yes, it's not that I have to pass that, or yes, to be in my evolution part. I mean, do I should overcome that and be happy around all the politics, or be happy around all the horror things, or just not, or just be calm that myself doesn't get attached? I mean, I just asking you because I'm just like a little bit confused here.
Yeah, thank you, Claudia. So one thing is that physical transformation, bodily consciousness that we have been talking of, it is it is the last transformation to happen. It is not the first. It's because the body has a lot of ignorance and inertia. So it's very difficult, and that's why we start with transformation of thoughts. We start with transformation of feelings. And the first step Mother and Sri Aurobindo say is get in touch with your high inner self, get in touch with your inner being, so that you can see which thoughts are worth having, which thoughts are not worth having, which feelings are affecting in a good way, which feelings are not affecting in a good way. So absolutely with you that thoughts and feelings are first to go, but the body transformation, that's why I was sharing that it is the last to happen, but it will happen for everyone sooner or later, whether in this lifetime, next lifetime, doesn't matter. We don't have to bother about that. But just to share that these are our possibilities, that the bodily transformation also can be worked upon. Each cell can be invoked with mother's light and consciousness, which we can do parallelly. And that also comes as a part of process of purification. This can be
Okay,
done
and
parallelly. Yeah.
that doesn't mean that the other person is more and the other person is less. Yes, I mean
No,
that
no, no.
doesn't have.
So this is only comparison with our own previous selves. Absolutely. So we are just progressing in our own journey, and no comparison at all here. And the other thing that you are asking, uh, or you were sharing about that, if I don't feel comfortable in politics, so shall I just push myself in politics and try to also expand myself there? I think according to Mother and Sri Aurobindo, there is no need to push yourself in situations which are uncomfortable or not suitable to you, your natural inclinations. And that is why, so that the psychic being, the soul consciousness can guide the path forward for us. That is why the first step is to unite with the psychic being, because nobody can give answer to you on this. Yeah. And even with Mother and Sri Aurobindo, we would see that with various disciples and people, sadhaks in their ashram, If a person is a doctor, not all the time he's doing the work which is suited for the doctor. He is at times put in the timber department, at times given some other things to do, at times maybe given some sports thing. So how to know what is true for me, how to know what is my unfolding of life, since mother is physically not here guiding me? That is why it's very, very important as a step to gather ourselves within and to unite with our soul consciousness, so that the unfolding of life can happen. Otherwise we will forever be lost, what to do, what not to do. Is this the right way for me, is this not the right way for me? So to connect with what are your natural inclinations, I have stressed upon it several times. Mother says, see what you like, what you naturally dislike. Maybe art and music comes naturally to you. For the other person, politics will come naturally to him. So that is where we start nurturing ourselves. We have to recognize what are your natural likings, and also to recognize where you don't fit very well. So where you don't fit very well, don't push yourself into those domains. So I think very carefully, gently nurturing what is coming naturally to us, and and as Sri Aurobindo says that it is Krishna evolving out of each one of us. So we don't have to torture the Krishna evolving. We have to nurture, foster, and very gently be sensitive to what are the demands of my being. Anything you want to share, Claudia?
I have something, but I forget now. So I mean, just thank you.
Thank you. If you remember, so please unmute and share later. Yeah, anyone wants to add on anything? Okay, so I'm taking it forward. And again, as Mother and Sri Aurobindo themselves have said, this path, conscious path, is not for everyone in this life. Not everyone may be ready to walk this conscious path, and that is completely fine, because psychic being grows through different experiences, and if it's not a calling for us in this lifetime, we don't have to push ourselves into anything. But those of us who naturally connect with words of Mother and Sri Aurobindo and see that, yes, I see that I'm walking this path and I would like to consciously understand and know and walk this path more and more, those of us can definitely take advantage of it. So nothing can be forced. There cannot be any forced surrender or forced transformation. So this little book, Mother, the Mother, written by Sri Aurobindo, is very, I feel very important here, what we are doing, because this we are effectuating consciously the process of purification. And from time to time, the lines from this book comes very handy. So maybe I'll read a couple of lines and then we can switch back next to again the integral healing. So I'll read the first chapter here, first few pages. There are two powers that alone can effect in their conjunction the great and difficult thing, which is the aim of our endeavor. Two things are: a fixed and unfailing aspiration that calls from below, and a supreme grace from above that answers. So something which is again and again calling the mother, show me the light, show me the light, take me towards higher and higher, and something which we receive when we receive that light, which takes us towards our higher possibility. So these two powers effectuate the great and difficult thing, which is the transformation of our nature indeed. Just a second. And then he says, but the supreme grace will act only in the conditions of light and truth. So here comes the importance of sincerity. Mother says that if I am aiming for truth, if I am seeking truth, and in my heart, actually, I am wanting a cover for my desires, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. So absolute sincerity needs to be there, that I want to let go of my older self, the demanding, suffocated, limited ego self, and I want to have this higher light in this situation that I am in. So the supreme grace will act only in the conditions of light and truth. It will not act in conditions laid upon it by falsehood and ignorance. For if it were to yield to the demands of falsehood, it would defeat its own purpose. So if light and grace acts and helps and gives strength to falsehood, then it will defeat its own purpose. So that's not going to happen. And then he says that there must be a total sincere surrender. There must be an exclusive self-opening to the divine power. So nothing but the higher light. What do I want? I want nothing but the higher light. I want nothing but a more and more intimate connection with the mother's consciousness. So that sincerity has to be there. That openness has to be there. Yeah, anything? Anyone wants to add on?
Yes, I wanted to share or ask something regarding something you said before. When I found this teaching, I felt like, okay, this is the highest and most highest teaching I ever found, and I was drawn to it. And at the same time, these years that I have been trying to apply this to my life, I felt many times like, okay, this path is like starting from where the other paths end or something like that. It's a very comprehensive path. And many times I felt like, okay, I don't feel like I don't feel like I am suitable for it. I should go to a smaller achievement, because I'm not even a yogi in the sense that I probably other paths like that. Like, am I suitable for this? When Sri Aurobindo was in his body, he didn't take anyone to his yoga. He would take people who were very prepared, very great yogis, and sometimes I feel like, okay, I am suitable for this. Has Sri Aurobindo and Mother take me like, okay, you are in, or I am just trying to reach something that is far away from my possibilities. Like,
Your sharing reminds me of a question. I think somebody asked the mother, and he said that, Mother, it's so difficult. And I feel that I've been again, reading, reflecting, studying Sri Aurobindo's words for a long time. But I don't think I'm doing anything and maybe progressing at all. I have no clue. I have no clue. And mother says that you're doing it all wrong. And she says that you don't have to do it all by yourself. Wrong way to do it. Just open yourself to me. I mean, what intellectual capacity does one need? to open oneself to the mother? Nothing. And if you feel, I mean, if you feel that there is another life possible for you, where you don't need to open yourself to the mother and maybe some kind of a life is waiting for you, I mean, by all means, go ahead and experiment. But I think for most of us who have turned to the mother, whether they find it difficult or not, I'm sure all of us find it difficult. But for those of us who have truly turned to the mother, it is impossible to turn our back to her. Impossible. We can't do that. So if you think you can do that, why not try and experiment with a new kind of a life that maybe you're imagining that is possible for yourself? But I don't think it is possible. Once you turn to this path, turning your back to this path is not possible. The other thing that mother adds on is that take it easy. Don't take too much burden on yourself. So only thing mother is asking is open yourself to me. Stick to me, cling to me, and open yourself to me. Both mother says. She doesn't only say open yourself to me. At other times, she also says hold on to me. Like she makes this gesture of cling, fists, making fists, and then she says hold on to me. And at other places, she says open yourself to me. Become porous and receptive to me and my light. That's it. And then that sadhak who was asking the question understood. And then mother says, I will do the yoga for you. I will create the situations. I will send those people to you who will help you on the path. You don't have to do all this labor. Actually, no one can. This labor is so hard, change of our nature, change of physical consciousness. It is so hard, even mental nature, that we can't imagine doing it all by ourselves. Not possible. Not possible.
Mm.
And this doubt, and the doubt that am I fit for this kind of yoga, I'm sure all of us, if you read stories of even those enlightened sadhaks you are sharing about, all of us in their records talk about these doubts from time to time. All of them. There is no one I have read so far who was without any doubt, no matter how now so sincere he may appear to us after a long time. So his articles and his essays may appear very solid to us. But if you see, they also had a lot of doubts. Lots of darkness, challenges they had to go through. It's not an easy path. But the thing is that when we are walking on this path, overcoming challenges, darknesses, weaknesses, that itself is so much of joy that I can't imagine living any other life if not for this kind of a life. And if you feel that there is another life possible for you, then I think why not experiment? What's the harm in experimenting?
No, I just meant maybe another spiritual path, which would be, maybe I would imagine it's more suitable for me, less.
It's not that, it's not that high that right now it appears because of the readings or anything. It's very simple. Again and again, mother has said, open yourself to me, open yourself to me. It's very simple. Mother does the yoga for us. So even if you don't come to the sessions, don't read books, just keep connecting to the mother. That itself will be sufficient. Mother has guaranteed us. Because not everyone can read, not everyone has the interest and capacity also to go through too much of reading. And for those of us also, karma yoga is the path, you action oriented path. So every act that you are doing, you offer to the mother, you do it for the mother. How simple is that? I don't know of any other yoga where there is no process. Here there is no process. Actually, if you see, the process is just stick to the mother, open to the mother. and rest all is additional. So this reading that we are doing, the sessions that we are doing, it's all additional. Those of us who are interested, see how many people are there today, 7, 8, sometimes even 1, 2. So this is just for our interest. Those of us who feel inclined and illumined by their words, they come, they benefit. Some of us may not benefit that much. Maybe it's too much of a stress for their mind. And actually, Mother and Sri Aurobindo share, Sri Aurobindo himself, he says that when the mind is really developed, well formed, when the brain is well developed and well formed, you don't need to read books and things. So these are just intermediate states. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
No, in fact, I love to read, and I don't doubt about my interest in studying and my intellectual capacity. I'm more like in doubt about my capability of transforming my lower nature, or to really open to the mother in a very deep way.
Yeah, I
It's
think
more
we
difficult
are
than
we are
reading.
all in the same boat. Yeah, we are all in the same boat as you. And the helplessness that you feel, I can guarantee that each one of us feels that helplessness regarding transformation of the lower nature.
Mm.
None of us is beyond that. And when we feel that helplessness, then in fact we can open even more to the mother. Because in our helplessness, we open even more. That mother, I don't know how to do this, this is just beyond my limits. Up to you, over to you, you take the charge. And again, gathering all your thoughts, gathering all your feelings towards the mother, towards the mother, towards the mother. Simple, very simple. Offering all your doubts to her, offering all confusions to her, that mother, this is there, I feel I am unfit, and this is, I offered this to you, you take care of this. There is no other way. We all go through this from time to time, so totally with you.
Thank you.
But if you are not capable, then I don't know who is. So please, keep holding on, keep holding on. Yeah. Yeah, any additions, any reflections, anyone?
Yeah, I just want to say that these things, they keep coming, these thoughts and all, because we are so used to knowing our paths, right? Like in our regular day-to-day lives and the way our societies are built, everything is clear, right? Okay, you do this, then you do this, then bachelor's, then maybe master's, then either service, and then marriage. It's like it feels like I have a grip on things because I know, and the result you can see, right? Okay, when you have a job, you can see that, okay, this is what I'm getting, this is what I'm getting. So the mind keeps getting that, feedback that yes, I'm doing something, I'm becoming something, something is happening. But here, because the things that are happening are so subtle, and sometimes, how they go on a loop, right? You think, okay, you're over it now, and again you feel yourself back there. So it's confusing, right? Because there's no parameters to compare yourself with or to. So it's like, okay, I remember there was a quote that, how can I be absolutely sure that I'm walking on the right path? And I think the reply was that then if you want to be absolutely sure, then close your eyes and walk. Then you will be led beautifully. So just that this fact that I don't know is not something that needs to pull me down. It does, but it doesn't have to. It can also be a wondrous I don't know, right? Like absolutely new. Okay, I don't know what is happening. Yet, it's like standing on faith, like one stands on earth, that no, I have the faith that only the best can happen. These things that you shared, again, it's not possible that they don't come at this stage, and yet I can do something, right? I can look at it, I can see, I can offer it, and it feels difficult, and yet it's not, and it's good to bring these things up, right? Because somewhere we keep feeling that it's just me, and it's never, never, never me. Like Rumi says that every story is us. So yeah, just reassuring that it's not possible not to feel it. And I think it's good also. I mean, obviously you can go down, but you can also rise in this, right? That what else do I do? Kind like, so whichever path one needs, I mean, one resonates with, one, if one sticks to it. Yeah.
Thank you.
In Nirodbaran's correspondences, where he shares, so again, see, physical presence of mother is there, physical presence of Sri Aurobindo is there, but if you read his memorable contacts with the mother, or 12 years with Sri Aurobindo, you would see that he's sharing that I am corresponding with Sri Aurobindo, and even then I'm going through such a dark and difficult time that master's golden words are not doing any good to me. So, I think good to read such stories, because we, as Taru is saying, that we are not alone and we can't escape this up and down, and this darkness and all that. And as we were reading in, I think, some other article by Nolini Da, he was sharing that now that we are in the middle of anxiety, now that we are in the middle of darkness, now there is no anticipation. Now we are there. Absolute helplessness. Now the only way is up, because down we are. So the only way is up only. So knowing that, I think these experiences are very grounding experiences. They are very humbling experiences, because from time to time we go up high in the air, that look, it happens, without our knowing happens. But when we go through such experiences, they ground us. And I think nothing can give us this much of grounding as much as dark and painful experiences give. So it's all a cheap bargain to get more truly in connect with the mother. Everything is a cheap bargain, really. In the difficult most of situations, we connect the best with the mother. I have seen, for myself at least, I have seen that I actually miss my painful moments, at times. Where is the pain? Because the intensity also then goes away of connection with the mother. So we can also utilize that. Yeah. Anything anyone wants to add on? Yes, Yuan, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, okay. Yeah, you wanted to say something?
Yes, go ahead, Priyanka.
Okay. So, I just got reminded of the poem Sri Aurobindo. My life is wasted. I haven't read this poem so well, and nor do I can claim that I understand the meaning of it. But yet, the very topic, the very heading of of the poem by Sri Aurobindo, my life is wasted. And if I can read a few lines, I would, just a few lines, not the whole of it. He starts the poem, my life is wasted like a lamp ablaze within a solitary house unused. My life is wasted, and by love men praise. I wouldn't read the rest of it, and just skipping few lines and then would go down. I cannot quench the fire I did not light. And he that lit it will not. I cannot even drive out the guest I never did invite. Although the soul he dwells with loses heaven, I burn, and I know not why. I sink to hell fruitlessly, and am forbidden to rebel. So, not going much into the meaning or anything of this poem, but it is so deep that a person like Sri Aurobindo, who we see as an avatar, you know, he wasn't an ordinary soul. He was an avatar, and yet he went through all this. And all of us, wherever we are in our journey, we do go through, we must go through, and we better go through. Because if the goal is to reach the infinite, then how can we settle with wherever we have reached? How can we ever be satisfied that this is it? Because this is not it. So if we ever feel, and we all feel, that it's not happening, uh, I'm not progressing, or I'm not evolving, or it's just not happening the way, there's some kind of unrest inside, we feel low, and good we are feeling that, because that is the time when one must understand. But I have understood that I have reached to a certain stage through my journey, and maybe I have become complacent there. I have remained there for a long number of time. Now my spirit is yearning to rise higher, to experience something. Because whenever I'm feeling this unrest, it is because my spirit within me, all of us, the soul, is ready. But it's just that we are not ready. When I say we, because our identification is with this body and mind, that is not ready, that has reached a certain stature, a stage, and it has given us a certain sense of accomplishment, and with it comes complacency too, without probably even us realizing it. So that unrest has to come, because we have to rise higher up from wherever we are. So that is not enough. So it is good. And even Mother, I think, says somewhere, she's written, I read it long back, that about depression, she writes that I think when one is depressed, or one is depression is a state of evolution. So it is sort of, when you are feeling very low, when you are, in a depressed state, not to the level where you cannot have, when you cannot function. I'm not talking about that disease, but just feeling depressed. Then again, it is that mother. Remember that that's how I am just expressing my views. That's how I have understood, and there's so much more for me to understand. So I've understood that now it's time for me to look, to experience more from whatever I have experienced so far. So just repeating it. So it has to be there, and if it is there, good, it is there. So just that.
Thanks, Priyanka. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, anyone wants to share, add on? So just sharing something funny, I would say. So how things work, as we can see that in integral yoga, there is no formula. To some, mother would say something else. To some, mother would say completely the opposite. And in fact, to the same person, she would say something some other day and something else extremely opposite some other day. So we can see that there is no formula for us. And that is why I think Dharu was sharing that it's so mind boggling at times, because there is no formula, what to stick to. So I'm just sharing this anecdote, maybe a kind of funny anecdote also, that she had given some work to someone, and that was weighing cement, and that guy was not very happy with the work. So writing to the mother, mother, please give me some other work. And mother has adopted kind of him as the physical mother also. So she's sharing, my little one, I myself have asked Chandulal to give you the work of weighing the cement, or as before, the charge of vibrator. Since it was something new, I thought it would interest you. But if it does not interest you and you would prefer weighing cement, so she has now switched to other, earlier he was weighing cement. But if it doesn't interest you and you would prefer weighing cement, you can say so and it will be arranged. As regards giving up the work just after a day of concreting work, that I disapprove of entirely. And you can be quite sure that I won't give you any other work except that. Love from your mama. So that was in French. And just to see that, one has to hold on, because we again see many examples here that, for example, to a doctor, mother gives work in timber department. Now the doctor has no clue how am I, what purpose am I serving in the timber department. But the mother says, no, you have to be there, you have to be there. So one has to go through all the darkness, weakness in oneself, the resistance that comes up, that how can I do this work? Because mother had purpose for everything. For each work that mother is assigning, there is a purpose behind that, which we may not know. So in whatever situation we are currently in, I think we can be sure that there is some purpose to that situation, if we can take it with that right attitude. And then,
So,
yes,
Monica, I
yes,
have, sorry, can I ask? So,
yes,
I
yes.
have one question. Yes, so in the beginning, somewhere, what happened?
We have a Mata Ki Chauki going on, in the
Yeah, yeah, you can hear this. Yeah.
But go
Sorry
ahead,
for
go
that.
ahead.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I have one question that in the beginning, somewhere you said that this yoga is not for everybody. So what do you mean by that?
I think very simply put, that one would not be able to understand what is this path about. So there is no resonance one finds with this yoga. And many of us, you would see that even amidst our relatives, friends, very close, even very good friends I have, but they can't connect with the words. They feel no resonance with that. So just in that sense. And slowly through our experiences, we begin to connect to that, the words also, and we begin to
Okay, okay.
have the importance that no, I know that this is important for me to find something deeper in me. Then we begin to connect with mothers and Sri Aurobindo's words. So just to add on again to those experiences which Nirod Baran shares, Nirodha shares in his contacts with the mother, he also shares that although he was not a very sporty person, but any time he got maybe too much into the sports and maybe started to have a good victory and started to get developed, he would see that his evolution was cut short by the mother, because the mother wanted him only to focus on Sri Aurobindo. He was actually personally attending Sri Aurobindo. He was a doctor and physician for Sri Aurobindo and also doing a lot of other things. So he felt at many occasions that wherever he began to take much interest in sports and also began to win, but there was not, the larger plan was not that for him, so mother would cut that short, and then so that he could solely focus on Sri Aurobindo. And so many a times in our lives we see that mentally we may be thinking, oh, I am good at this, let me go there. I will be very good. But in the larger plan, maybe that's not good for our spiritual growth. So we are kept away from such situations, no matter how hard we may struggle. So just to have an open attitude in that regard, that whatever is right now coming in front, if that I can do with a attitude of servitude, doing as best as I can, whatever is offered as a service to the mother, I think then really things open up and we don't feel that much in resistance anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so beautiful actually. It gives you so much strength to endure, like that
Yeah.
clarity that this is the path, the divine has chosen for you.
Yes, yes. So many a times we may be wanting to be, maybe I think that I would be good as a teacher, but you're not getting a job of a teacher at all. So you're wondering what is wrong with me. And on the other hand, you would see like Shraddhavan, when she came to the mother, she had a teaching background, but she had no inclination towards teaching, no inclination, and she never thought that she would be good at it. But mother put her into the first Auroville school, that you take care of that. So, the ways of divine are really, we can't make a formula out of it. So, sharing something which maybe will give us a bit of encouragement and strength. This White Roses by which is a compilation of messages that mother sent to Huta Didi when she ever had a question, and she went through a lot of turmoil. We see in these letters that she was again and again as if attacked by adverse forces, dark and hostile forces. So we can see one message repeating again and again. So maybe I thought and these are very simple, a couple of liners only, a few liners are there. So maybe we can go through this, and see what it can give us. So would anyone want to read a few lines for us? Would be nice.
Shall I?
Yeah, please go ahead.
One thing you must know and never forget. It is all that is true and sincere will always be kept. Only what is false and insincere will disappear. We must and we will conquer, even if we have to fight again and again. I am never discouraged and ask you also not to be, because the divine's final victory is certain. There is so much of noise everywhere, music happening. God, I've locked myself in the room, yet this
This is October, festive
yeah, the
season.
festive times. And the song is Roti Kapra or Makan. That's echoing in my ear. I'm sorry. All the noise.
Yeah.
No child of mine can be a zero. In fact, each one of my children has his or her place and special mission to fulfill. I love them all equally and do for each one what is truly needed for his or her welfare and progress without any preference or partiality. How beautiful. As for the attack,
It's a misprint.
as for the attack, it is a long-standing affair, and it may not be easy to make them stop at once, but one day they will have to cease. And meanwhile, they can be made shorter and less acute by keeping faith in my promise and calling for my help that is always available. The world is, as it is, full of smallness and obscurity. The divine alone is light and vastness, truth and compassion. So take refuge in the divine and do not care for the smallness of the world. Do not let it disturb you. Keep only the divine presence in you with its peace and quietness.
Yeah, thank you, Priyanka.
Thank you.
This part here, as for the attacks, it's a long standing affair. And she says that it may not stop suddenly, but they can be made shorter and less acute by keeping faith in my promise and calling for my help. Now, this is very practically applicable. So, whenever these thoughts about confusion and maybe demands that arise from the ego consciousness, expectations, and demands, whenever they strike us, knowing that they are not my true self and they are coming from the ego consciousness, I just stick to the mother and not want anything from the demands of the ego. So I don't want their fulfillment. I know they're still standing. They're standing in front of me, wanting. But I am sticking to the mother and I am not giving any attention to their dictates. When we do this, we will see that what would take earlier maybe 10 days to pass on, that now takes only maybe 2 days to pass on, like a dark cloud, because you didn't want anything from the ego demand. From time to time, ego consciousness demands something from life. This is what I want, that is what I want, or look, I am this, or look, I am that. These are all coming from the ego consciousness. So when we see that, yes, they are there, ripples are there, but I don't want anything, no promise I am listening to of these dictates, just holding on to mother's feet, I think then really, practically we see that instead of longer time, it takes less time. So that's what mother is sharing here. They can be made shorter and less acute by keeping faith in my promise and calling from my help that is always available. And if we see Huta Didi's works on Savitri, which mother herself held her hand, showed her how to paint. I mean, we won't realize it is the same person who is writing and being attacked by so many adverse forces, and look at the work and creative aspect that is there. So we have to know that they can exist parallelly. Sri Aurobindo shares that during the time when I was depressed, that was the time actually I was giving a lot of suggestions and advice to other people on the path of their sadhana parallelly at one point of time. In one part he's undergoing depression, and in one part he's actually able to guide people more effectively. So we have to know that this is part of the game.
Monica, would it be possible to share this PDF with us?
Of course, yeah, I'll do that.
Monica, that line that do not be disturbed by the smallness of the world.
Yeah.
I think that is also, again, something that we need to do it again and again, because, again, the smallness, there are certain things in me which I feel I can let go, right? Or I can offer. And yet there are things in me I feel that grace is flowing, right? So what I do is I feel that I have to focus on the smallness so that it can be transformed, which is true too. And yet if I just focus on the grace, then naturally the smallness gets transferred. But somehow again, the way I'm conditioned, I always focus on, say, for example, the newspaper is a very big example of this, right? Everything, I would say maybe 99% or 98% negative, right? What is wrong? Who did wrong, right? The thieves, the robbery, I mean, just exaggerating. And we don't have a newspaper for just, the beauty of things. Say, oh, he did that. I mean, they do mention it, but the light is not there. The limelight is not there. So just that even though the bad is thrown at my face in all aspects, worldly, personal, and yet if I can focus on the divine presence, that also seems like a every moment choice, right? That no,
Absolutely.
but I know, no,
Yeah.
but I know that. I mean, if it's done by him, if it's made by her, how can it be bad, right? Like it's again just not at the right place, but there is light. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank
I think
you.
every moment, as you said, every moment this choice has to be there, to either to obsessively focus on the smallness, or knowing that okay, smallness may be there, but she is also there. So focusing on that, yes, absolutely. Yes. And that really is very empowering. Whenever we see that parallelly, we see smallness is there, weakness is there, ugliness is there, helplessness is there, but parallelly if we see that she is also there, and focus more on the mother rather than thinking in mentally what to do about the smallness, then we get entangled because we think mentally, what do I do, what do I do about the smallness. So when we turn to her consciously every moment, making that choice, it empowers. Yeah. This every moment choice, I just want to share something on it. In day to day interactions, many a times things happen which trigger something in us, either a sad mood or maybe something that hurts us. Somebody said something, that really hurt us, and most of times these people are very, whom we claim that we love that person, and in our ignorance words are said, sentences are spoken which are very hurtful in nature. Now I have seen that in those moments, it's very interesting to see that as if immediately the moment I focus on that word or a sentence being spoken that is very hurtful, I feel as if a darkness descending on me, the moment I give it more attention. And immediately, if I say nothing doing, ignoring it completely and sticking just to mother's consciousness, I have seen that this is very like dynamic force in action, mother's dynamic force in action. So immediately we see that that mood which could have come on me and spoiled my day and hours because of giving that little sentence or a person's approval or rejection some attention, knowing that it doesn't matter, nothing matters in front of mother's consciousness, I stick to her, cling to her. I see that many a times I'm able to evade such kind of dark phases which could come. So this idea of making the right choice every moment, I think it's very powerful, and one has to remind ourselves because we forget that we have the ability to make that choice. Somebody said something, somebody said, maybe many a times people say it in ignorance, they don't know what they are saying. So they have said something, they don't even know that they have said something hurtful, and you are plunging in that darkness and thinking, oh, why should he say that, she say that, what made her say that, and all the time, like, this rumination, regurgitation. So instead of that, if we can develop a taste to be in mother's consciousness, and to have a taste for that consciousness, that that is more tasty, that is more delicious, rather than plunging myself into this darkness, I think that really helps. Then we can brush off anything from our shoulders, whatever is sticking, not giving these little things that much of importance. And also then it becomes very easy to forgive one's own self, and also forgive uh, so-called instances that happen. They eat up a lot of time, when we plunge into them again and again, thinking about them, it really, they eat up a lot of time. See, yeah, who will want to read a few lines?
I can. Now, from the point of view of yoga, it is always better to attach no importance to superficial things and to keep an inner poise and a quiet mind, taking refuge in the divine and giving importance only to the real relation with the divine. Yeah, that's what Monica was talking about. The grace is sure to be victorious one day. I never impose my will on anybody. It is only when somebody asks me what is my will in order to obey it that I say clearly what my will is. But afterwards, if the same person shows displeasure or discomfort in obeying that will, I never insist upon it or use coercion. I leave each one free to do what one thinks best.
Yeah, thank you. I think this is also very, this is the quality of psychic consciousness, that it never imposes itself. Ego imposes. No, ego becomes very aggressive and it says, no, 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 no. If this is not done, then something will happen. This has to be done, this has to be done. But the psychic consciousness is a very silent pressure. It's like not even a pressure at all. It just tells this is the right thing to do. And mother says that it is very happy to be ignored. And we would see the same thing in mother's recollections, if we read also with Nirodha, Nolinida, that if mother has said something to someone, and if someone says that, no, mother, I don't want to do this, something like that, mother would actually not force. She would stay quiet. And then it is for up to you to decide which way to go. So we have many, many instances of that sort where, for example, there was, this soup ceremony that used to go on in the ashram. So one day, Nirodha, being a doctor, he said that, the way we are preparing soup, it has no nutritional quality left. And mother said, okay, we won't do that. Nothing doing. So although there was a different purpose to that soup ceremony and a higher consciousness was coming through that, but then, and he felt later on so much in regret, why did I say that? Why did I say that? Because that it doesn't, force itself. So I was wondering that this is also the quality of psychic consciousness, that it doesn't force itself. It just tells very silently, quietly what is the right thing to do. And then it is very happy to take a back seat. Okay, you're not listening, no point. But insistence is there, like a persistence is there, but aggression is not there. And this one also, I think this is so beautiful, the first one, that anything that is happening in our life, nothing really truly matters if not our true relation with the divine. And I feel this has been so beneficial personally for me, that I've been able to disregard so many things which earlier would really bother me and play havoc in my consciousness. And now I am able to just disregard that, because nothing matters but my relationship with the mother. Nothing. So whether you get something, do not get something, lose something very precious, you lose, even that, nothing matters but your relationship with the mother. It really helps, and this is what helps us to keep this inner poise and quiet mind, because that stability is developing within your relationship with the mother. Very helpful. And this is how a true samatha or equanimity will develop. Because you are not making anything most important. The most important is your relationship with the mother, which is inward, which you can always take care of. So I'll share this PDF with us, and I think these are very simple lines to read. In my darkest of times, this has given me a lot and lot of strength. This PDF, White Roses. Few lines I would read, because in darkest most times one is not capable of reading that much also. So these are very simple few lines, and really give a lot of strength to us and give us the right direction. Yeah. Yeah, so any last comments, any reflections, anyone? So this,
I read
yeah, please go ahead. I was saying
something
that
and
this we will take later, page 15.
okay,
This we will take later. Yes, please go ahead.
yeah, 1 second. Can I share the screen? I can send it to you also. Okay,
Yeah, now try.
yeah. I read this yesterday and just wanted to share this because, yeah, anybody, I mean, I can read this. To those who demand from him, God gives what they demand. Is that true? Is this true? Sri Aurobindo says it is not meant that he gives always whatever anyone demands, but that what they demand is all he gives. They cannot get anything else. Just, today when I was in the session, it's like, there are so many things that are kind of contradicting us. Like on one aspect, we say, no, she decides. Then she says she never not gives you what you want. It seems contradictory, and yet they all can coexist, right? So just that was just coming to me. And this is also again, what am I asking is very important, because a lot of times, things happen and we believe that, but I could never have imagined this, or how could this happen to me? And yet, when you look back, there are certain movements, certain questions, curiosities, that how could this happen? How would that feel if that happened? And then that happens, and you're like, how did that happen to me? So just being very conscious of what am I asking, what am I thinking. I thought it was so strongly said, right? Like it cannot be more clear. Yeah. Thank you.
Mother shares that be very cautious of what you ask for. Because sooner or later you will get it, and as you were sharing, you would not even remember asking for it. Many a times, this has happened to, if we look back, this has happened, that maybe like 5 years ago I was wishing for something. Now it took some time in materializing, and now 5 years after I have it, and I'm wondering on, why on earth I'm in this situation, while we are the ones who asked for it. So yeah, true. Funny. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, any last comments before we end? Okay. So, wishing everyone a very happy practice and sticking to the mother, our golden key. And thanks for joining in. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you.
Thank you, Monica.
So
Take care.
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Take
so
care.
much.
Take care. Bye bye.